Hey guys, so some of you have been asking how we can do this daily quest, and it's a little difficult, especially if you're a newer player, even for someone who's not a newer player. If you're not geared properly, or you're not going into the fight thinking about how to effectively tackle it, it might be a little challenging. So I'm going to do this here for you. Um, I'm going to try this with this team and see if it can be done with only these units with only free gear. So if we take a look at Tifa, I've set her up so that she only has free gear. So in her normal form, we have all the free gear here, so you will definitely have her STMR. Getting the Frozen Crown is pretty easy, same with the Assassin's Vest, and then Fritz Claw. The Storm Kickers, I couldn't find another piece of free gear that I want to slot in there, so I just put the Storm Kickers. You can ignore that and put whatever you have. And then for the abilities, I have the Soaring Heart, which is her TMR, and then the Fenrir Synergy, which we get from Madame Adele. If you're around for that event, this will be there. If not, you can slot it with whatever you want. So my Tifa is already capped at max attack. That's why I have slotted in that one. I would put killers, but my killers, I don't think everyone would have them. I think Necropolis is free, possibly, but I've taken it out just in case it's not. And then I also have Force Mysterion, which is an STMR, so I didn't include that. Now for her Brave Shift form, what we have here is, again, some of the same stuff where I'm going to try not to use her Brave Shift form because it has a lot of LB upgrade gear and you may not have that. So we're just going to ignore her Brave Shift form and predominantly use her non-Brave Shift. And even if you don't have the limit burst gear, her limit burst is still going to hit pretty hard. So I think you can just ignore the gear there, and let's just dive into who else we got. So we have Zach, and I haven't geared him at all because I'm assuming you're not going to have that many Final Fantasy VII units if you are a newer player. So what I've done is I've just added this free materia here called Cradle of Horns, and it reduces damage taken by all allies and boosts defense and spirit. So we have that on him. We have Reno here, and I have him with the Luck Junction to give some extra gil. And he's geared with some random stuff. He's not going to be doing damage, he's just there to break for us. So you can set him up however you want, and I didn't max him out because I didn't see a need to at the time. So he's sitting at level 116. Here we have Red 13, so you may or may not have him, but he's going to be our SR chainer with Tifa. And assuming that you don't have him, I'm going to just have no equipment, just to assume that you don't have a unit and you're only using what you're given. And then last we have Aerith here. I just set her up haphazardly, but if you do have another unit who is not Aerith, the main thing is try to equip them with 10,000 needles, which you can obtain from one of the trials. If you have a Neovision Tifa, I'm pretty sure you can easily just one-shot it, so getting this 10,000 needles shouldn't be too hard, I hope. And so we're going to try to replicate this. I haven't included Envy Cloud because I'm going to assume that you don't have him. If you do have him, it would make things a lot easier. So let's just try to simulate what it would be like if you're a newer player and you're only given Tifa and Reno as the free units. So let's go ahead. So when you first start out, you'll see that some of the stats get boosted, which is nice. So Tifa has like 30,000 HP right now. And what we're going to do with Zack is we're just going to Cradle of Horns in case, we don't want to take that much damage. And then with Aerith, who is not going to play as Aerith in this video, she's just going to spam 10,000 needles. And then for Reno, he is going to use his cooldowns, so there's going to be Reduce and Custom Specs Rod, so we'll use that. And you'll see that they will not take that much damage. Also, I forgot to mention that my Tifa has maxed out her her Meteor Crusher, so I highly recommend you do that to make this a little bit easier as well. Maxing it out is not too hard because we're given the materials for free by just grinding the event, and also when you want to farm the insignias, you can bring a bunch of units that just equip a fist and it can knock down that break bar really easily, and then with Tifa you can just use her limit burst and cap off any chain and it will destroy the boss pretty easily. So we're going to use her Meteor Crusher. I'm assuming that we're not going to be able to take these guys down, so I'm going to overdrive first to boost our attack, and it's going to gradually restore HP and MP as well, so that's nice, especially when we do get hit. So I'm going to do that. And then for Red 13, you know, assuming you don't have an SR chainer, we're going to just base our assumptions that he's going to die after this turn. So let's just go ahead and use Stardust Ray to get the AoE and just chain them together. I'm using my phone, so that's not the perfect chain, and somehow it still said Spark Chain. So 2 people died, that's really good. Now, you'll see that the Cradle of Horns really helps, plus Reno's breaks. So we can just reapply the same thing and just Meteor Crusher there, and it should be able to just take him out. So that's no problem there. And then for wave 2, we're going to apply the same thing. These guys are a little bit stronger, so it may take a bit more to kill them. So let's target the 1. So yeah, as you can see, we only were able to take out 1 this time rather than multiples. So the 10,000 needles is coming in nicely. It's helping us dodge. And then we're going to chain again. And you can see that my chains are breaking pretty badly because I'm trying to record this at the same time as tap, and I'm not getting the chain off properly. But if you didn't have a chainer, you can see that Tifa is able to take this on her own. So we're just going to defend. I think that was a better chain this time. There we go. But because Red 13 is double casting, it's going to break near the end. And now we get to the point where the mana is getting kind of low. So this is where it's important that we make sure we do her overdrive, and then we're going to do her Meteor Crusher. And then for Zac, we're going to Cradle of Horns. And 10,000 needles again, and Reno is going to use his cooldowns. Because his limit burst is up, we can actually do that instead, and then we can save his cooldowns for later. So we'll do his limit burst, and then for Red 13, again, we're assuming that you won't have another person, so you may be doing this with only 3 units. Let's just spam his mana until it's gone, because we're going to assume that he's going to die. So we chain that up there, and you can see that doesn't do that much damage. It only took out like 8% of his health. So now this is where the boss is going to be a little problematic. And at this point, if you don't have anyone that you can chain with, Tifa's limit burst is not going to be able to get the maximum modifier, so that's why we're just going to try to chain it up. But I mean, let's see what happens when we actually do switch to her Brave Shift form. So switch to a Brave Shift form. We're going to use Concentration. We're going to use Awakened Fighting Spirit, and then we'll reduce damage taken by for 2 turns with that ability. And so we'll do that. So her mana is really depleting here. Reno here, if you were able to get Fenrir, you can cast Howling Moon as well if you don't have the 10,000 needles, but of course that relies on you getting your Esper gauge, so we're not taking that too much into account. Zac is pretty much gonna die, so let's just get Cradle of Horns off one more time. With Reno, now we can actually try to do something, so he won't be doing that much damage. And then Red 13 is going to be dying in just a bit, so let's just... Looks like we can only do one more cast. So maybe we'll just guard with him. Alright, so now we got that. So if you're only stuck with, you know, 3 characters possibly, we can use Reno here, and let's try to get off some attacks. So these don't exactly chain, but we're just going to try it anyway. And Tifa to cap. So I don't think that was a very good representation because her limit burst is boosted from my gear, so I probably should have changed it. I'm sorry guys. As you saw, I only did it on a 4 chain, so you can try it again as well and see how much damage you do with your limit burst. You saw that I used a bolting strike attack plus an SR ability, and I was able to get a 4 chain, and Tifa did massive damage. So this is how you would beat this boss. That's the rundown. Of course you want to optimize it to whatever gear you have and whatever units you have, but as you saw, Tifa is the star of this fight, so yeah, I hope that was helpful for you guys, and look forward to seeing you guys in our next summoning video.